is Arabella Gordon, and today we are going to talk about how to change chords smoothly. Now, I had a good question from my friend, Naveen, and he's just getting started on the guitar, and he wanted just some tips on how to change chords. I think that's a common problem for every single person that's trying to play the guitar, and therefore it's very, very valid. So I'm going to go over 4 tips that should help. And not only should it help in changing chords, it should also help you in learning anything new, whether it be on the guitar or on the keys or even something else. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first tip that I want to talk about is what I'll call the cat splat. Have you ever been in a car and you're driving at whatever speed and a bug comes at you and splat, there it goes on your windshield. And you just see that bug go splat and you've got that mark there. Okay, now we've all had that happen. Next, I want you to get another visual. Have you ever seen a cat as it gracefully leaps from the tree limb to another tree limb, down to the fence and down to the ground? Beautiful. Now, those two images are very, very strong images, and I want you to decipher which one you are. And I'll leave that up to you. If you are, here, let me grab my guitar. If you are the type that does the splat, where you're going splat, 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 I want you to consider picturing that cat and picture yourself being graceful like that cat, going from chord to chord, to change, to change, to change. Okay, so getting that picture in your heart sets your entire being and your hard drive to approach a string changing and chord changing with ease and grace. And what it makes you do, forces you to do, is makes you relax. The reason why you do that splat is probably you're grasping too hard, you're using too much tension. Your shoulder may be coming up. You need to drop that shoulder. You need to make sure you're using good posture, and please breathe. And make sure all your joints are bent. You don't want your joints to lock up anywhere. You don't want them to splat. You want your joints to be comfortable and bent. So that's one. Get a metaphor, a visual of your fingers being like that cat and not like that bug going splat. Okay, number two tip is what I call economy of motion. Now, I've seen some beginning players that will make chord changes with very, very expansive motions. For example, going from the C to the A minor. They'll finger their C, and I've got my scotch tape there, so if you see that, that's what that is. It had a little cut. So there's your C, and they'll actually pick up all their fingers and try to find their way back to the A minor. When really, in fact, using economy of motion, just using very, very small changes in your fingers, all you need to do is pick up number 3 and drop it down right there. So there's your C and there's your A minor. No need to pick up all your fingers and hopefully that they find their way back, which that's fine if they do, but there's really no need to. Use economy of motion. Now here we go. There's your G to the E minor. You don't need to go G and to the E minor. You just go G and move that finger over. So always consider, when you're looking at the chord progression that you need to play, consider how can I economize in my motion that I make the smallest amount of motion as possible, which will definitely give you speed and less necessity to tense up. So that's number 2. Number 3 is what I call posing. Posing is when you're actually not really playing anything. You need not use your pick hand at all. You just want to take the chord or whatever you need to do on the guitar that seems to give you a trouble spot, and you want to be relaxed again, and you want to hold it correctly and just sit. You can do this watching TV, Facebooking with one hand, talking on the phone. I've done all those things. So after a while, your fingers start to know how to hold it and how to relax within it. And after you know how to do that, you can start giving pressure to it, so that actually when you start picking or strumming, that it will ring out. At first you can just hold it, so if you were to strum it, it may not ring out. But after a while, as you put pressure on it, you will build your muscle strength, and you will be able to correctly finger it without being tensed up. Okay, the last tip I want to share today is number 4, muscle memory and slow tempo. Now, posing is when you're just holding a chord, but you want to even pose the change at slow tempo. So there's your C, very slowly making changes. very slowly making changes. And the reason why is because the muscle, your brain and your heart and your fingers all work together with a muscle memory. And if you train it properly from the get-go, it will not fail you. Let's just take, for example, a typewriter on a computer. Let's say this is your first time ever typing your name. Now, and I asked you to type it 10 times in a row, and you decide that you're going to go for it top speed. And you're looking at the keys, of course, so you're finding your letters for the first time, and you want to go as fast as you can, because obviously you want to impress me, and you want to impress yourself. So you're going for it. Oh, here I am, typing my name. Arabella Gordon. Now, if I did that 10 times in a row, it was my first time, my first 10 times typing my name, and I did it at top speed, more than likely, I'll have some type of error on every single one. And on the 11th try, I'm going to get an average of what I did the last 10 times. I'm going to have some mixed up set of errors on the 11th time that only you and I, your guess is as good as mine what will happen. However, if I were to type my name as slow as possible the first 10 times, A-R-A-B-E-L-L-A, and my last name, slowly, that I got it correctly the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, and all the way to the 10th time, and I went for it the 11th time, the chances that I will do it correctly on the 11th time are almost 100%. So I want you to remember that and take it slow. How slow do I have to go? Well, you need to go as slow as you need to go to do it correctly. And not just correctly. You need to do it as slow as you need to do it correctly, and to be relaxed. So I'll leave that speed up to you, but you need to go that slow to guarantee your success. Because after all, the muscle memory will work on averages. Going back to the cat for a second, have you ever heard that a cat will remember the first five scents that he or she has smelled until his or her dying day? Wow, that's amazing. And we're kind of that same way. The very first impressions we have with pizza or ice cream or guitar or changing chords, we store that because it's an all new experience. So we store that away in our hearts, in our long-term memory bank. And every other experience that will come along that lines will go into that same file bank, being compared with that first experience, and being not just compared with, but building on that first experience. You want that first experience to be successful. And this will take you a long way, not being discouraged. Can you imagine a child or someone trying to play guitar, trying some new thing, and just every time they do it for 10, 20 times, it was negative? It's going to be likely that they'll get discouraged and want to quit. But if that person did something and they did it just at a slow enough speed that they did it correctly and experienced success, that's going to set the pace for them to endure and to make it to the end and succeed as a player. So this is Arabella Gordon. I just wanted to give you 4 tips. I'll go over them very quickly. Number 1, what I call the cat splat. Get a visual of being that graceful chord changer, and not that bug going splat. Number 2, use economy of motion. Do not pick up your hand. Do not make piston-like motions. Try to foresee the next thing, the next chord you must finger, and accommodate it by setting yourself up for the next chord coming. And use the smallest motions as possible, giving you more speed and keeping you relaxed. Number 3, pose at slow tempo. If you have a treble chord, just hold it until you start getting used to it, and then give it pressure. Number 4, muscle memory. Remember that muscle memory with the typewriter? You want to give yourself that success by going as slow as you need to increase your average, that the next time you play, you'll do it correctly. Do it correctly and as slowly as you need to get it right. Okay, well there you have it. Those are 4 tips on changing chords, or on the guitar, or on changing notes on the bass, or playing the keyboards, or perhaps some other skill that you want to learn. These steps will give you the ability to be successful if you use the principles. Okay, there you go. I'm open to any questions. Go ahead and find me on YouTube. You're welcome to ask me on Facebook. Just find me and ask me. If I didn't make something clear, I'm more than happy to do that. And if you have any more specific questions, I'm more than happy to address that with you. So this is Arabella Gordon, and I will see you next time.